So the expressions in the second half of Capricorn of fortitude and reconciliation and mastery, they speak of an aspect of Capricorn that is not much discussed. Obviously fortitude is, reconciliation not so much, mastery usually is with Capricorn. And yet within these expressions there are kind of hidden mysteries, especially in this mastery. And it begins with the 26th degree of Capricorn, the water sprite, an image of fairies, the soft, subtle, nuanced energies that are very, very long way away from being earthy and Saturnine and Capricorn-like in the traditional sense of how we understand it. And we open up a new dimension of Capricorn with this last expression. In order for us to gain mastery in life, it is just not enough to have ambition and strength and diligence and learn how to do the job and learn the power of command and climb on top of that skyscraper, like a goat climbs on top of the mountain. That's not enough. That's a necessary condition of mastery, but it's not sufficient. In the end, we have to unlock the secret of the moment. And the secret of the moment is requiring a more subtle level of perception. This water sprite points to a sense of being in tune with the subtle energies, not usually associated with Capricorn. Capricorn 27 takes us into the mountain pilgrimage image. And a pilgrim is disciplined and strong-willed, a contrast to the first. And so we have somebody who's looking for a spiritual experience, devoted to God, devoted to traditional ways of finding God, notwithstanding the opening in the first degree of this expression to subtle energies. Here's the contrast. Bring it down to the facts of the matter. Exactly what do I have to do? I have to go on to a pilgrimage. And a pilgrimage is, like walking the Camino or going on a retreat is a kind of a pilgrimage where you do what is required. You do work with the physical body. It's not easy. It's arduous, and you don't look around for entertainment. You do spiritual practices, and you slough off all of the trappings of success in life, and you behave as though you were poor. You eat food that only poor people would normally eat. You work for hours and hours all day that only poor people would normally work. You pretend that you're a poor person. And this brings about a sense of humility. And you find that humility goes hand in hand with the discovery of the subtle aspects of life. Now, in Capricorn 28, the large aviary, birds always represent communications from the other realms. So we're opening up this facility of listening out for messages from the other realms. In other words, intuition, inspiration perhaps sometimes if it's felt. And we're opening ourselves up to something that's greater than us. The large aviary, all of these many, many thoughts, these many ideas, these many spiritual aspirations and inspirations, it's more than we've ever been able to master. And we have to really pick what it is that we're studying. We can't have them all. Too many. It's just too much. And one of the things that Capricorn does particularly well, it decides on something. It focuses the attention really clearly on one thing. And this is the strategy of a hunter. If you look at animals when they're hunting their prey, you will see that they don't run about seeing if they can catch something. They'll focus, find out who's the weakest member, which is the weakest member of the herd, and focus their attention on that one animal and not look at anything else. However close they get, they focus on that one animal and pit their energy against the energy of that animal. You see, if you move your focus, then that which you're trying to hunt is only then operating its energy. So you would tire out more earlier than otherwise. And Capricorn gets this. You have to focus on one thing. So the large aviary is just saying, look, there's too much choice in the world. Focus on one thing. Now in 29 you have the woman reading tea leaves. And when we see the operation of divination, we understand that all of the messages of the universe are coming to us like the large aviary. Typically, I mean, that's what's happening all of the time. And we cannot divine anything from that. It's just too much. Exactly the same as the last degree. So in learning how to focus our attention in the last degree, now we see what we can do with focused attention. Focused attention is specificity of a question. You're asking a situation to address this particular point. And it might be a question. How do I need to progress? What do I need to do? Who do I need to be with? What is the meaning of life? It might be a very specific question. But if you focus your attention on any particular path of life, then it will draw you towards a particular echo, a response, an answer to your question. And if you don't get particular about it, you can't have an answer. And this is the same with divination. If you sit down and you just play the tarot cards or consult the Jing or do the Sabian oracle without a question, well, how can you get an answer? If you have no question, you can't get an answer. So you have to ask a very specific question, and then you get a very specific answer. And it's written in metaphorical terms. So if your question is not clear, the confusion is complete. You just can't do it. So this is the method, the realization of the mystery of this expression. Focusing your attention so clearly that your question itself actually generates the answer. If you ask your question clearly enough, the question disappears. This is a real mystery. And it is not only esotericists and magicians and mystics who get to understand this. It is also highly successful businessmen. And we move into Capricorn 30 here, remembering that these Sabian symbols are not allocated by design to these degrees. This was a random event. So to have Capricorn 30 as a secret business conference is extraordinarily meaningful. This really validates the whole process of how the Sabian symbols were discovered. Capricorn 30 then, this secret business conference. Imagine businessmen in suits at a penthouse suite of a skyscraper, sitting on top of the world, feeling rich and powerful and everything. You ask every one of them whether or not they trust their hunch, and they will all say yes. The successful businessman uses intuition and has sharpened that intuition to the nth degree. So what we find here is that the path that we thought was leading to esoteric mysteries, the woman reading tea leaves, also leads us to the competent businessman, the one who trusts his hunch. And in their different ways, they both significantly influence, they impact upon the world. The businessman obviously makes decisions, things get built, moved around, money moves, obviously an impactful person. And they do this in secret because actually nobody can understand the mystery of how it all works, not unless you've actually gone through the process. But it is the same with the woman with the tea leaves. She keeps herself secret, doesn't she? She's a bit of a mystery. Mysteriousness is part of her stock in trade. And the reason is that people who consult these masters of their craft have not yet learned the mystery of trusting your intuition and asking a specific question. If you learn those two things, ask a specific question and trust your intuition, then you'll carve your path through life very smoothly. It's taught in the Christian Bible, seek and ye shall find. So seek is like asking a question. Look for what you want. Look for it. Ask a question of life. How do I get what I want? And then you'll find. In other words, trust that it's there. And that trust is an aspect of intuition. If you trust that you can interpret what's going on and understand it, then you get to understand it. If you really want to understand what to do in life, where to go, who you are, who to be with, then ask the question specifically and trust that you will understand and interpret the answer properly. You have to believe in yourself. You have to trust that your answer is the right answer. That's a part of the game. And this is what businessmen do, the Capricorn 30 people. They make their decisions and just carry on, knowing that it will come to pass. Because if it looks as though it's going wrong, they make a different decision, they make adjustments. You know, they know that they can do that, and we can too. Capricorn's last expression is mastery, and mastery has a lot to do with expecting to become a master.